Country girl, dog lover, blogger, and writer. Welcome to the Between the Keys podcast. I'm author Casey Kendricks. Thanks for joining me for these informal ramblings about life and writing. Hi, I'm author Casey Kendricks, and welcome to Between the Keys. I started posting videos many years ago, just little short silly things, as a way to record what I was doing. My favorite subject was my dog Deuce. I wanted to record what he was doing. I even gave my dog his own blog because at the time that I got him, I thought he was probably going to be the last dog I would ever have, and I wanted to remember everything about him. So took the videos, started his blog, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Well, fast forward to 2022, and I retired after working at the same company for 22 years. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to just make some different videos, like walk around the property. I call my property a manor. It's really not, but I call it that. Why not? So I would record, walking with Deuce around the manor and record stuff in the garden. Excuse me. And they were fun. I enjoyed doing that. It was just a way to record what I was doing. But the more I thought about it, I thought, everything is going away from the blogs and to the video, so maybe I need to really concentrate on this. Maybe this is a medium that I need to get proficient at. And so I thought about it, and I was going to do it. I made the welcome screens, the intros, the outros, put together a couple videos. It was going good. I was pleased with my beginnings. Then in March of 2024, my husband died, and that kind of derailed everything. It derailed my writing. It derailed the idea of making videos. It just major life change. So I've had 8 months now to kind of get myself back on track, to figure out what I want to do. The one thing I know I want to do is I want to concentrate on my writing. I had eased away from it. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Then my stepfather, his health failed, and I was caring for him as much as I could. And that's neither one of those is poor, pitiful me. Don't misunderstand me. This is just life. This is what happens when your parents age. My biological father died in 1983. So, it was only logical that my mother would remarry and I'd end up with a stepfather who ended up needing some care. After my stepfather died, it seemed like my husband's health started going downhill, so I had to care for him a little bit. The only thing in my life that I could ease back on was the writing, and it hurt to do it because it was something that I really enjoyed. And to me it seems like I was given this gift and I wasn't using it, and that disturbed me, that I had let this gift that I had just kind of go. There again, that's just life. You have to prioritize. And I know to the aspiring writer, you're going to write something every day. Well, maybe not, because you also might have children that need you, parents that need you, a spouse that needs you, a job that's very important to the well-being of your family. There's all sorts of reasons why write something every day might not work for you. And I would say, do not beat yourself up over it. do what you have to do. The writing will always be there. If you're hoping to be that next big thing, no, don't count on that. Just do it because you enjoy doing it. What follows along behind that is just gravy. So just write, and don't worry about having the number one bestseller. Um, I just, to me that's not the thing. I started to write many years ago. I wanted to sit down and see if I could write a book. So I sat down, started on a Super Bowl Sunday, sat down and started to write. And when I finished that story, my mistake was showing it to my mother. And from that point on, she kept on me. You've got to try and get this published. You've got to try and get this published. I had already done what I set out to do. I set out to write a book. I didn't set out to get published. I set out to write a book. Well, excuse me, the cat wants out the door. That's real life too, if you have a cat like mine. He won't go far. He's going to run around the house, to the back of the house, to the patio, and he's going to sit outside the back door until I go let him back in, because that's what he does. He doesn't want to be out. He doesn't want to be out running around. He wants to go out, see what's going on in his domain, and come back in. So anyway, I ended up published, and that was not my original goal. So I've had a really good run. It's fun. I want to pick it back up again. For the first time in a long time, I feel enthusiastic about writing. I have a story almost completed. I think what happened was I looked at the calendar and thought, is this going to be the first time in 20 years I don't get even one book published? And that just kind of lit a fire. Because no, this is not going to be the first year I don't get a book published. It's that close to being done. It will be on Amazon before the end of the calendar year. From there, I have 2 more started, and a third one not really outlined, but I have the character bios completed. So that's the Between the Keys part of this podcast type video. I have learned that YouTube, the algorithms do better if you are a podcast or a video creator, where when you blur the lines, it kind of gets blurred. The algorithm can't really find you. And I think I'm quite willing to accept that. I'm just going to do what I do, and the end product is the end product, and I'll just keep right on rolling along. Some of these will just be talks. Some of what I put up will be videos of what's going on outside, videos of the dog. I'm sure I can strike a balance. Why not? I'm going to try. But a lot of this is going to be, I'm going to call it KC on her own, because I am on my own now that my husband died. It's not what I expected. It's not what I expected at all. I don't mean to sound like it's been easy, but it hasn't been as hard as I expected. Do I miss my husband? Yes, every day. Am I suffering emotionally? Not so much. His health had deteriorated, and he needed a lot of care, and I was happy, willing, wanting to give him that care. But now that I no longer have that responsibility, I'm okay with that. It was an emotional drain to have to care for him the way he ended up needing care. And before he died, he ended up in the hospital and back home and in the hospital and then in a nursing care facility and back in the hospital and then in a hospice. And it might sound harsh to people who haven't lived it, but when he ended up in the care facility, it was almost a relief that I wasn't having to physically care for him at that point. I certainly didn't want him to pass, but I was glad of the break. So I think it took a while for me to start to get my energy back. And that's happened. It was a hot summer. My garden failed because when I needed to be taking care of my little seedlings, I wasn't here. And that's okay. I mean, that's you let things go, and I let it go for this year. And I'll probably talk about that more when I get into talking about gardening. But I kind of think people might need to hear that it's really okay that you're not so deep in grief that you're sobbing and non-functional. I think it's okay that you reach a point where you want to move on. You want to get back to doing the things that you love to do. You get to the point where you want to try something new, like doing these little video podcasts or whatever you want to call it, because you need that. You just simply need to do that. You need to take on new challenges, no matter what the situation on your life is. You need the challenge. You need the challenge, and then you also need a sense of accomplishment. Referring to my garden again, I think being willing to recognize that it wasn't working in 2024 and to let go of it, acknowledging that was an accomplishment. And saying it wasn't really a failure. It was a combination of things that it just kind of got to there. Will I try again in 2025? Of course I will. I think it might be important for especially women in my age group to know that absolute total failure is a rarity. If something doesn't work out, you pick up, you move on, or you pick up and you start over, and it's all fine. I think it's also okay to enjoy living alone. That might sound odd. When my husband and I got together, he moved into my house. I already had this house. I have 3 acres of ground that my grandparents gifted to me, and I built a house on it. And when he and I got together, point blank, I told him, yeah, you're a great guy. I'm not leaving my house. No way, no how, not going to happen. My grandparents were still alive. There was no way I was going to sell this place that was right next door to them and move away for a man. I wasn't going to do it. And he said, fine. He said, I'll sell my place and move in with you. He said he always wanted to live in the country, and that's what he did. Sold his house, moved in here. We got along really good for 30 years. And his his name was never on the deed or anything like that. It didn't bother him. He didn't care. He knew me, and he knew that, he was here, and he was. I would not have let him move in here if it wasn't life. Why did I not put his name on the deed? It's my house. And this is, modern day. Divorce could have happened. And I didn't want there to be any question. My house was my house. But living alone is not that bad. As I say, I retired. I get up in the morning when my dog tells me it's time to get up. Who needs an alarm clock when you have a Labrador Retriever? At 6 o'clock, it's time he wants out. Time for him to go out. And he lets me know it's time for him to go out. 8 o'clock, he tells me it's time for his breakfast, and he means I want my breakfast now. Who needs a watch? I have a Labrador. So that's kind of fun. Not to sound snarky, but I've moved furniture around into the configuration that I wanted it to be. My husband's recliner was in the best spot in the house. My recliner is now in the best spot in the house. Okay, it's fine. It'll work. The dog, the stupid Labrador Retriever, is afraid of the hardwood floor. It's slippery. My husband said, I don't want to throw rugs down. I put rugs down for the dog. Not a problem. So, there's little things. There is little things. When I had trouble with the water filter, did I wish that my husband was here to take care of that? Oh, yes. I most certainly did. But I figured it out. I took care of it myself. Yay, go me. What is it? I am woman, hear me roar. So it's a learning experience. There's challenges, there's accomplishments. And I think that's the kind of thing I want to talk about. Just little everyday things. But I'm also going to talk about the writing. If you go read my blog, you'll see I complain several times about the website situation. Could go into detail about that. Can talk about retirement and reconnecting with friends that I actually had not seen since high school. Girls like myself that have lost spouses or divorced or, whatever the situation is. There's a group of us that go out to dinner at least once a month. It's really nice. Had my husband not passed, I might not have been doing it as frequently as I do it, because I wouldn't want to leave him here on his own. The maintenance for my house, every time something crops up, and I'm not alone in this, I'm sure. I still talk to my late spouse, say things like, oh, I wish you were here to take care of that. But the truth of it is, I would be taking care of it anyway because of his health issues. It would be on me regardless. So it's like, don't whine. Just get on with it. That might sound a little British. Well, there's very little British in my genealogy. My genealogy goes back to the 1500s in Germany, when some pope, whoever he was, granted my family a coat of arms that can only be used by somebody who is born with that last name. Yay me. None of my cousins have the right to use it because they weren't born with that last name. I like that part. I like to lord it over them about that. But, you know, making decisions on my own, that's a mixed bag. Sometimes it's like, yay, I can just go ahead and do what I want to do. And other times I kind of miss my sounding board, because he was a good sounding board. I could talk to him about anything. Usually, he made very valid points. So, I have to stop and think, what would he say about this? And I end up maybe calling one of my guy cousins and letting them tick me off some. But they usually have good things to say. So there's a lot. There's a lot I can talk about without trying to cram it all into one of these podcast videos. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on improving my video skills. I've already learned one thing, that if I'm going to record here in my office, maybe I don't want drapes open. The window, you can't see the woods. I was hoping you could look into my woods, but the light is too bright and all you see is reflection on the window. So I got to come up with something for a background. That's one of the first things. And I think I'll work on that. Get my brain going and see what I can come up with. So that's what's happening. I'm embarking on a slightly modified journey with these video podcasts. It's not going where I thought it was going, but I think that's okay. Never have your plans be so concrete that you can't make adjustments. If you can't make adjustments, you're going to run into trouble. You're going to end up disappointed. You're going to end up angry. Always be willing to make adjustments to your plan. So that's it for today. I'm author Casey Kendricks. You can find information about my books at caseykendricks.blogspot.com, and I'll write it there across the bottom, I hope. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I also have a blog. It's called Holly Tree Manor, which is more geared towards what I do country living wise, and that is hollytreemanor.blogspot.com. And maybe, just maybe, I can get the website situation resolved. I have the .com. I have caseykendricks.com. I own the domain. Paid for it. But my problem is I can't find a website provider that I like. They have all these templates. It's like, I don't want to use somebody else's template. I want to do my own kind of design. And I had that and I really liked it. And, there again, life moves on. I guess it took up too much bandwidth for everybody to be able to design their own. So I'm kind of pondering on that. So anyway, thanks for coming along with me. If you would, please like, and then please subscribe. Help my channel grow. It helps YouTube find the algorithms, because you never know. I might actually say something that's of value to you someday. So that's it. Thanks for coming along, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me today. I'm author Casey Kendricks, a country girl, a blogger, a dog lover, a gardener, a writer of romantic stories, and much, much more. You can find my books on Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and other online vendors. Check out my writing blog at caseykendricks.blogspot.com and what I do outside of writing at hollytreemanor.blogspot.com. My dog Deuce even has his own blog at deucesday.blogspot.com. www.kendrickskeys.com. Those links are below in the video description. If you would, please subscribe and help me grow my channel. Until next time, stay safe and look for joy in all that you do.